Hello, I'm Tracy Grimshaw. Welcome to this special edition of A Current Affair. Tonight we speak exclusively with the brave Australian woman who gave evidence against disgraced entertainer Rolf Harris.
I wanted him to hear it. I wanted a jury to hear it. I wanted the public to hear it. I wanted everyone to know what had happened.
Rolf Harris is facing jail after being found guilty in a London court of 12 child sex charges. A Current Affairs' Ben McCormack has been covering the story since day one. In a moment, we'll talk live with Ben, who late today interviewed one of Harris's Australian victims, Tonya Lee. First, Harris's dramatic fall from grace.
This is a spectacular fall from grace. It's almost difficult to put into words.
He is a beloved children's entertainer, and people didn't want to believe that this was possible of him.
This is a man who was an entertainer, a television star, a pop star as well, has now got the prospect of facing prison.
It's taken 50 years, but finally Rolf Harris's appalling past has caught up with him. The Australian-born entertainer guilty of indecently assaulting young girls.
I think there's massive disbelief that this has turned out to be true.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rolf Harris, a cappella, when we grow up, the big soldiers.
It all started in 2012, when Rolf Harris performed at the Queen's Jubilee concert. What the entertainer didn't know was that sitting at home watching was one of his victims. So sick of the sight of him, she decided to finally go to the police. It would set off a chain reaction. Dozens of women coming forward, claiming to have been assaulted by the entertainer, stretching back to the 1960s, including one living in Sydney, Australia.
I knew that what he'd done was wrong. He must, I don't know, be able to switch between two personalities, like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde sort of thing.
Tonya Lee is the only victim to go public with allegations against the 84-year-old entertainer.
He moved his hand down underneath my duffel coat, moved his hand to the band of my skirt and put his hand down my skirt and down the stockings, pantyhose, and down my underpants and pushed his hand down my pants and fondled me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rolf Harris.
Rolf Harris was one of our most successful exports, according to TV historian Andrew Mercado.
Rolf Harris was one of the first Australians to go overseas and become a big star. He was on TV in England from 1953, in TV in Australia from 1959. He had his first hit record, Timey Kangaroo Down Sport, in 1957. So he's a major recording star, a major TV star. He spends decades
Have a look at it now.
doing kids shows, animal shows, variety shows, teaching kids how to paint. And then Rolf's off playing Glastonbury for years and years, and then painting the Queen on her 80th birthday.
For a second.
There's an old Australian stockman lying, dying.
But Rolf Harris had us all conned. The outwardly happy-go-lucky entertainer had a dark side. He was a sinister deviant who preyed on young girls.
And we're not just talking these allegations. He has now admitted to 2 extramarital affairs, and one, of course, was with his daughter's best friend. It's pretty seedy stuff.
The trial would last for 7 weeks. Harris faced 12 charges, all of indecent assault, involving 4 alleged victims. The first was the prosecution's main witness. She was a friend of Harris's daughter Bindi, and she was just 13 years old when she said Harris started indecently assaulting her. Assaults that she told the court went on for years and are too graphic for us to talk about here. 7 of the 12 charges are in relation to her. The second alleged victim, well, she was just 7 or 8 years old when she claimed Harris put his hand between her legs and aggressively and forcefully assaulted her as she lined up for his autograph after one of his shows. The third alleged victim, well, she was 13 or 14 years old and working as a waitress at a celebrity event in Cambridge when she claimed Harris groped her on the buttocks. Now, Harris denied ever having been in Cambridge at the time, but he had to change his story when the prosecution produced this video. It shows the entertainer jumping around like a kangaroo and performing for the cameras. And the fourth and final alleged victim, well, that was Tonya Lee. As we know, she was 14 and on a tour of the UK with her theatre group when she said Harris assaulted her, allegedly putting his hand down her top and down her pants and performing a sex act on her. 3 of the charges are in relation to her.
He took away from me that feeling that you can never be normal again.
Throughout the trial, Harris maintained his innocence. Reporter Gavin Gray.
Rolf Harris remained calm, which was pretty important. A few times he said, "I'm sorry I didn't hear you," and a few times as well he said, "That just didn't happen, that just didn't happen." He remained calm, but let's not forget, he is an entertainer. He knows how to play to an audience, in this case the jury.
Karen Willis from the New South Wales Rape Crisis Centre.
I think this sends a great message to all of those high-profile people. If you commit acts like this, if you're a criminal, then you will be held to account. Your position in society will not save you.
You've got to save for yourself, Harris! Each of the charges he's been convicted of carry a maximum sentence of 2 years.
Rolf Harris.
He was one of the first guys to have taken an Australian message out there to the world. That's how he should have been remembered, but unfortunately for this to have been happening to him so late in life, he's probably going to be remembered as a sexual predator who got caught. Very sad.
And Ben McCormack joins me live now. Ben?
Thanks, Tracy. I was speaking on the phone with the Australian victim, Tonya Lee, as the verdicts were delivered last night. And when we heard Harris was guilty of all 12 charges, she screamed. She was elated and relieved. And who can blame her? Tonya has been living with this for a lifetime. And last year, she had the courage to go public on a current affair with her story, and then had the courage to go to the UK and testify in court. These verdicts vindicate her, and they vindicate all those other brave women who came forward to tell their stories about what Rolf Harris did to them. I recorded this exclusive interview with Tonya Lee a short time ago. Tonya, thank you very much for speaking with us. How are you feeling today?
I feel proud. I feel incredibly gobsmacked, actually. I can't believe, I'm so happy that he was found guilty. I can't believe it, and it just shows that the justice system does work.
Last year you had the courage to come forward and talk about your story publicly. You copped a lot of criticism for that, didn't you?
I can weather whatever storms come my way, but you need to tell people this is what happened to you and this person can't get away with it.
Did you have any idea of the number of women who would come forward claiming to have been assaulted by Rolf Harris?
I wanted to open the door for other women to come forward.
3 of the 12 charges against Rolf Harris were in relation to you. Did you have any apprehension about going to the UK and giving evidence in court?
No, actually, no.
Why not?
I'd already said my story and I wanted to be heard in court. I wanted him to hear it. I wanted a jury to hear it. I wanted the public to hear it. I wanted everyone to know what had happened.
When you went to the UK, did you see Rolf Harris?
Yeah. I saw him going into the courtroom.
Did you want to say anything to him?
I wanted to say a lot to him. I just don't think he would have heard or listened or understood. I don't think that he would have known the impact of what he's done.
The jury took 8 days to come back with their verdicts. How was the wait for you?
Horrible, very up and down in my emotions. I just wanted them to understand the devastation and the truth of what happened.
I was on the phone to you last night when the verdicts were read out, and I know how you reacted. But for our viewers, can you tell us What was your reaction when you found out that he was convicted of all the charges, including the 3 relating to you?
Oh my gosh, I was just so excited. I was just screaming. You heard me. I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I'm so happy. I was so happy that justice was done. Like, it was just amazing. Yeah, it was amazing.
Was there a sense of relief?
That came later. Vindicated, totally acknowledged, unbelievable.
Is this justice?
Yes, absolutely. I just feel so out of this world.
How do you feel about him now?
I hate him. I dislike what he's done. I hate the lives that he's ruined, but I hate that he's ruined my life and that he doesn't even acknowledge it. He just thinks that he doesn't even remember me. That's what he told the court. Can you believe that? It just makes me think that he's done it time and time again. But what he's done to my life is unchangeable.
But what about you? Does that mean you're going to be able to move on?
I really don't know, actually. Like, I still struggle from day to day.
So this isn't over?
No. Far from over.
The judge has said that he's going to jail. Is that what should happen to him?
Yes. Definitely should.
When your children get a bit older, what will you tell them about all of this?
I think about this a lot, actually. I want them to ask me questions, to understand and to know, particularly my daughter, but even my little boys, that these people can't touch you in ways that are... They can't touch you, and don't trust these so-called acceptable people. You know, everyone thought Rolf was just this great person. He wasn't. He was a pedophile.
What's it going to take for Tonya Lee to be able to move on and get on with her life?
I take one step at a time, number one. I want to work with people who've been in situations like mine. Yeah, I want to become an advocate for child sexual abuse victims.
Do you regret speaking out?
If someone doesn't, then these people get away with it. I don't care how famous he is, how much money he's got, how much he turns up to court with all these surrounding people around him. I couldn't care less. The bottom line is he abuses children. But also, I just wanted to speak out for me, just to let it off my chest and just bloody say, listen, I've been holding this for this long. You know, listen to it.
You carried it for long enough.
Yes.
Well, Tonya, I think you're very brave and you should feel very proud. Thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you.
Tonya and all of the other victims were indeed very brave, and Rolf Harris is expected to be sentenced on Friday by Justice Nigel Sweeney in London.